Can everybody see me? Can everybody hear me? I'm hoping. Somebody say yes. If you can see me and hear me, just say yes. This happens every time I do a live stream. I'm wondering if people can hear me and see me. Yes. Thank you, Vamps. Thank God somebody did. I hope everybody, good morning, Get Out of Dodge. That's a really cool name, actually. I like that. Hey, Katie. Very nice. Hi, Vamps. Turn me off at Vamps. Okay, obviously there's some sort of a conversation going. Carol, you'll have to fill me in later. Fortune cookie, I hope it's not as hot where you are as it is where we are. Because let me tell you, we had a heat index yesterday. It was actually 95, but with the humidity and everything, it was 118 degrees. It's like, oh my God, it's so freaking hot here. And then I noticed, I put something up on my community page yesterday because I noticed my neighbors have a lot of animals and they didn't bring the animals in. They were out in the heat. And I was like, people, bring your animals in, please. The animals don't do better in 118 degree weather than you do. So take your animals in. Let's see, Vamps. You were binge watching. Yeah, that's the good part, binge watching. Well, I'm starting off this morning. For those of you who haven't seen my Twitter feed, and of course, I'm putting this in my video for tomorrow. I want to show you, what I got yesterday. If it shows up right. Beautiful flowers. Let me see if I can get the other picture up. Gorgeous flowers that were sent to me by Nancy and Stephanie Sidley. They heard about my broken bones. And they sent me these gorgeous flowers. Aren't they beautiful? Yes, I thank you. Yes, what's really terrible is, wait a minute. Yeah, it's the humidity. What's really terrible is I didn't do anything to my shoulder. Like I lifted a desk with my son. You know how it is. One gets on one side of the desk, one lifts the other side of the desk. The desk weighs maybe 30 pounds. I mean, there was nothing there. I don't understand. The general consensus from the doctor is that this was probably, the injury was probably there already through the years of pushing and pulling patients in the ER and yanking people around. And that more than likely, the injury was there. And so just lifting that desk, yeah. For those of you who missed last week, what actually, I was injured and I went to urgent care and everything was under control. And then I was sleeping and I rolled over in my sleep onto my left shoulder. And then suddenly I just woke up in horrible pain. Yes, correct. I woke up in absolutely horrible pain. And I was crying. I was sobbing. And I said to my husband, please take me to the emergency room. And because the emergency room doesn't do MRIs, they didn't realize all the blood that was pooling in my shoulder or that the muscle had been torn off or the tendon had been torn off. And no, 30 years ago, but not now. No. They did an x-ray, but the x-ray didn't show the fracture for some reason, but the MRI did. So anyway, yeah. But I'm only like 3.5 weeks out from the injury, and the ortho doctor, or the ortho surgeon, won't touch me until the bones had a chance to heal, which is another 3 to 4 weeks. So the surgery doctor will see me at the end of August, towards the end of August. So at that point, I will be 6 or 7 weeks out from the injury. And the doctor, oh my God, she was so funny, because I said, it really hurts when I move my arm this way. And she goes, it's broken. Don't move it that way. Just don't move it that way. Easier said than done, because when you're cooking and you reach for things, you just automatically see. Even now, I reach your arm out. Remember I told you guys it wouldn't lift? I couldn't lift my arm. It's God, so weird. It's so weird. I can bend it at the elbow so I can carry things like this. You know, I can do this, but I can't. It's so odd. Ugh, whatever. But yeah, the Sidleys sent me some absolutely gorgeous flowers, and they're so sweet. They're like checking in constantly. How are you? How's your pain? What can we do? Let's see. I'm gonna disagree on this one because from what I can remember from childbirth, this hurt, but not like shooting something the size of a watermelon out the size of a hole the size of a lemon. That hurt. That hurt. Okay, now going back to the weather, south of Atlanta, temp is 82 with 69%, giving us a heat index at 9 in the morning. Yeah. Grew up in Georgia. Yeah, no. We've got we've got patient doctor, it hurts when I do this, don't do it. Exactly. That's exactly what she said to me. I swear to God. Yesterday morning at 9:30, it was already 87 here. It just gets hotter and hotter and hotter all day. Now, as far as my other channel goes, because I haven't really been able to cook and I haven't been able to do all the things I usually do, I haven't really been posting over there. But I am going to put a video up the other day because for those of you who don't know, we have circadia. Is that how you say them? Circadias? And all kinds of stuff going on here. So, and then of course, last night, hubby and I finally made it out to dinner for our anniversary. 26 years married, 28 years together. I'm kidding. So I'm going to be posting. Carol, my fabulous moderator, just put a link up to that channel if you're not subscribed. There's all kinds of recipes on there. Now, a lot of people have been asking me about my house. And I did on my Patreon have videos how the house was built because it's a modular home. It's not a manufactured home. It's a modular home. And a lot of people don't understand the difference. A modular home is a stick-built home, just like a site-built home, but it's built inside. And so you don't have delays for weather and all this kind of stuff and people rushing because the whole thing is built inside. And yes, it's a 2-story home. So they built it. I don't know any other way to say this. They built it and then they buzzed it down the middle. And then they put it on 2 separate trailers and they trailered it onto the property. And then they had to put it back together. I have those videos. And so since people are asking, and right now I'm not really big on cooking because it's hard to cook with just one arm. I am going to put those videos up on the other channel so that you guys can see how the house was put together because it's really interesting. And it's insured just like a regular house, a site-built house would be, and it appreciates in value just like a regular site-built house. And people are really interested in how they put these houses together. So I will do a video on that. So anyway, all right. Really quickly. Yeah, it's the limitations kind of suck. But what I was told was they don't have to cut it open. They're gonna like orthoscopically. They just basically have to grab the tendon, pull it back up, and reattach it to the bone, and then grab the one that's coiled up here, pull it down and reattach it to the bone. And then I was told my arm will be in a sling like this for 4 to 6 weeks. And then after that, you have a lot of physical therapy. This is the wonders of modern medicine. I listen, I'm just going by what the doctor said, which was, you're still a relatively young woman and you need a functioning arm. And she's right, I do. So I am still a relatively young woman, even if it's in my own mind, and I'm going to get this fixed. Here, look at that. I have a company 30 miles from me that manufactures modular homes. And let me tell you something. I actually had a builder come out to the land. And remember, we own the land. We owned the land for like a year before we did anything with it. And because we knew the prices were going up of land out here. And so we grabbed it. We got the most unbelievable deal you wouldn't believe. The guy was desperate and he needed the property had been under contract twice before and the people couldn't get financing. And we said, we'll pay cash. Now the acreage out here goes for like 50,000 an acre. And we got ours for like 15,000 an acre, like 1.5, like we got luck. So we had a builder come out and I found this house. It was just 1 story, 2,000 square feet. It had the wraparound country porch, no garage. So with a 1-story house with no garage on our land, the builder tried to hit me up for $500,000. I was like, you can go. Like, no, that's not happening. So then I was like, well, we have this land, but now the house prices are going up. What are we going to do? We can't even afford. It's terrible. We can't even afford to put a house on the land that we own. And that's when one of my friends said, have you considered a modular? And my response to her was, I didn't plan my retirement. No, I'm not being snobby. And I'm not looking down on people who live in manufactured homes. Manufactured homes today are not what they were 50 years ago, let me tell you. But that's not how I plan to retire. And she said, no, modular, not manufactured. And we did our research. And then we found a home that we liked and we did the contract. And then you guys know what happened. The contract kept getting pushed back. And I lived 9 months in an apartment waiting for this house to be finished. And then we moved in before the house was finished because we flooded out in the apartment. For those of you who don't follow me for a while, that will all be up on the other channel. I'm going to start putting those up on the other channel until I can get my shoulder taken care of. So you are correct. Weather doesn't play a factor. Correct. Because everything is built inside and you can change things. Like for instance, we put a lot of recessed lighting in and we upgraded the flooring LVP so that, with all the animals, so that if they get sick, it's easy cleanup. It doesn't stain the carpet, that kind of thing. So, yeah. Let me tell you something. You guys know that we had that hurricane here how many months ago where we were without power for 11 days. And I had no idea I was so power dependent until then. All the neighbors around us had damage. Everybody had damage, either from the wind. Okay, I'd say 20% had damage from just wind. 70% had damage from trees falling on their homes, which is why my husband said, I don't want trees around our house. And we don't have any trees around the house. We have trees. We own like an acre behind that fence that you guys always see. So there's trees there. So I'd say 70% had damage from trees, 20% had damage from wind, and 10% had damage from the rain. And we were one of the houses that had like literally no damage. There was nothing. There was nothing. So we got really lucky, but then we don't have trees and the house was brand new. So look at this. My in-laws have a modular home, 5 beds. You would never know unless you were on site when it was delivered and assembled. Yeah, it's really cool. Yep. Florida, the hurricanes are constant. Yeah. I also can't take the heat in Florida. It's too much for my parents retired to Florida years ago before they finally moved closer to us obviously they both passed away, but they were in Florida and my grandparents were in Florida and it was always so hot there. It's just terrible. Yeah. That's the thing. You go from an air-conditioned house to your air-conditioned car and from the air-conditioned car to the air-conditioned store or wherever you're going. This is nothing to play with. And people, let me tell you something, people, if you have an animal, a dog, an outside dog, and you don't bring it in this kind of heat, then you're a jerk. That's all I can say. You're a jerk. One more thing. And Carol, I should have told you this. I found out that decision made, generator coming with, yes, bring your generator, Mary. I made it where you can't comment on my lives unless you are a subscriber and you've been a subscriber for a skinny minute. That saves a lot of trouble. So thank you, Lorraine. Now, the generator. I have another story. I don't know if I've told you guys. Stop me if I've told you guys this. You can put a comment. When the hurricane hit, we had to go buy a generator. I stood outside. I know this sounds very dramatic, but I stood outside of Lowe's. I don't know if you guys know what Lowe's is. It's like Home Depot. It's like a appliance store, I guess, a do-it-yourself store. You guys know what I'm saying? And so we go into Lowe's, and they have no generators. So the guy there says to me, generators are coming tomorrow. So I go out. It's raining. It's humid. And I'm standing there for 2.5 hours. Yes, Christine, thank you. It's a hardware store. Sometimes I can't think of the word. And I'm standing there for over 2 hours. It's drizzling. And I'm standing there waiting to get this generator, and we get the generator, and it's $1,000, which was not okay. Yes, it's expensive, but it wasn't too expensive, if that makes sense. They didn't, what's the word? They didn't jack up the prices. They weren't price gouging, is my point. They were $1,000. Really quick, Sandra, you need to report that to the authorities, because there's laws against that. So anyway, I stand there for hours. I get the generator. It gets in my car. I bring it home, and we had lines running, these electrical lines running all through the house. They were everywhere. You're tripping over them. Extension cords. I needed an extension cord to make my coffee in the morning. I needed an extension cord to run the TV. I needed an extension cord for a phone charger. I mean, it was just ridiculous. So we have a neighbor who has something called a journeyman's license. And he went into the box outside and wired this thing in, so that when the power goes out, my husband just plugs the generator into this thing, and the light switches work. The freezer and the refrigerator works. The coffee machine works. What doesn't work is the heating and air, because the generator's not strong enough. And also, what else doesn't work? The hot water heater. And you could run the dishwasher, but there's no hot water. But anyway, let me get back to the story. Sorry, I got off track. We got this generator, and then I applied to FEMA to get our money back. And within 24 hours, I was denied. Okay, they're denying me. I didn't think anything else about it till a month or two later. I get an email from FEMA. No, I got a phone call from FEMA saying, we think you filled your form out incorrectly. I'm like, oh, okay. So she helped me fill it out for medical, because I wear a CPAP at night, and because I don't breathe at night for some reason. And so it was for medical. So then they denied it. So I called them up again, and I said, what do you need? And she goes, first of all, we need proof your power was out. I'm like, is that a joke? No, I had to call the power company and get proof the power was out. Then I needed something medical from the doctor saying that I was on CPAP. Then I needed the receipt from the generator, which for some ungodly reason I kept. I don't know why. So I sent all that in. 3, 4, 5 months goes by. I get a letter. I've been rejected again. Why am I rejected again? Well, you didn't put it through homeowners insurance. What? Okay. So I put it through homeowners insurance, which I knew they were going to reject it. So then I reapplied again. And the point is, like 10 months goes by. I'm rejected over and over and over and over again. And I finally got a check. They reimbursed me for the generator. Point being, guys, never take no as your first answer when it comes to dealing with the government. You got to fight for I knew we were due to have that back. I didn't ask for the money back for the spoiled food. Could have, but I didn't. Especially when you consider how bad people were, up in Asheville, North Carolina, and Chimney Rock. All these areas were just wiped away. They were just gone. But I did want the $1,000 back, because that was more money than we expected to have to come up with. It was on a credit card. It was expensive. So eventually I did get that back. I'm like, I'm not asking for the food. I'm not asking for the gasoline we needed to run the generator. I'm not asking for this. I'm not asking for that. Could have, but I didn't. I just want the generator. So they did eventually pay it back. So yes, Christine, there's a lot of red tape, but you got to fight for what you know is right. Persistence. That's it. Persistence. Anyway, so that's my story. So on the other channel, I will be putting up all of this information. And, oh, wait. due to medical conditions, you get an automatic rejection. Yes, you have to fight for everything that you want. Oxygen levels okay. Yeah, I did the CPAP because I developed excuse me, I developed migraines after I went through menopause. I'd never had a headache in my life, and suddenly I developed these debilitating migraines, and I kept going in for all this stuff, and finally they were like, we have to send you for a sleep test because a lot of times these migraines are due to sleep apnea. So they tested me, and I think they said that I stopped breathing like 30 times a minute, and they put me on the CPAP. And has that gotten rid of my migraines? No. I'm still on Nurtec. However, I no longer need an afternoon nap. So there has been some improvement. I've heard there are many government programs that blanket deny on the first try. Yeah, I believe that. But after I sent them everything that they wanted, they were still denying. Yeah, 30 times a minute. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I will tell you this. If I take it off in the middle of the night to like go to the bathroom and I come back, I don't put it back on. just go to sleep. It's too much trouble. It's too much trouble. All right. So that's what's going on. And for those of you who just didn't see it, the Sidleys sent me some absolutely gorgeous flowers. Aren't they pretty? They sent me beautiful flowers because they knew I wasn't feeling well and with my shoulder and everything. And so they had these delivered last night. They're so nice. I think they did that when they sent me flowers when Tigger passed away too. They're so sweet. They're so sweet. Anyway, okay, so does anybody have any quick questions before I end? You guys know me. I pop on, I give you your thing, and then I pop off. Does anybody have any questions? Hey, Marissa. So sweet. All right, questions. Just looking. Yes, the flowers are beautiful. You know what? There are people being good to me. Listen, I'm not going to really, I don't want to talk about it. I'm just simply going to say that I promised you guys I would stay out of the fray, and I'm keeping my word. Keeping my word. I almost didn't keep my word when I heard somebody said that I was looking for sympathy and I injured my shoulder intentionally. How is Finn? Finn is fine. Finn is okay. He doesn't like being outside because of the heat. Again, it's hard to force him out to go to the bathroom. He doesn't want to go out because it's so hot. Lynn, it's probably going to be, since I'm not seeing the doctor till the end of August, it's probably going to be in September. But it's so hot here, he doesn't want to go out. Now, really quickly, somebody asked about where is Harry and Meghan? Well, here's what's going on. Meghan, as far as I can tell, has abandoned her Instagram accounts. She hasn't put anything up since July 4th. She's like disappeared. But let's face it, her Instagram accounts were very boring. She's wearing beige. She's putting minimal information up. She's, putting flower arrangements up. Didn't she do that as her With Love Meghan? That's all we saw her do was make charcuterie boards and flower arrangements and move pretzels from one bag to another bag. That's what people do. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Their contract is not being renewed. But they're trying to spin it like, well, this was the way it was intended. And now they're going to be doing first look contracts. Well, you can make something and you can show it to Netflix, but if they don't like it, they're not going to take it. And there's been a lot of talk about Paramount, the CEO of Paramount. She made good friends with the wife. Well, Paramount was just bought out. And the husband, from what I understand, is no longer the CEO. So she wasted her time. She totally wasted her time with kissing up to that guy because, yeah. Carol is right. First Look puts all the power in Netflix. Netflix is going to look at it. Oh, by the way, and yes, there's a big video tomorrow, of course, because I have to catch up with everything. There's a lot of royal family stuff. But um, did you guys know that everybody was like, "Oh, the Harry Meghan 6-part docuseries was just the best"? And did you guys know it scored like 1,700 and something out of 5,000 shows? It was beaten out by My Little Pony. I'm not kidding. I have all the statistics for you tomorrow. Shocker. It was beaten out by My Little Pony. I mean, what does that tell you? They seized on them for their short-lived notoriety, but they had a shelf life, and the shelf life is past, and they're not coming back. So, now I will say one other thing, because you guys know how I feel about really long lives. I don't like to do really long lives. First of all, the 6-part docuseries was shown to have stock photos because they tried to make it look like people were chasing them. Nobody was chasing them. They tried to make it look like they were popular. They tried to address things like, it just became ridiculous. It was very stupid. People weren't watching. So everybody's like, oh, they have all this money. Let's talk about the money. Harry makes $1 million a year being a chimpo. He's been a chimpo for 3 years. So that's $3 million. Then they made approximately $2 million from Spotify because they didn't meet metrics. So now they're at $5 million. She made less than $1 million from the bench, but I'm going to round it up and give her $1 million for the bench. He made $20 million in an advance for the spare. However, keep in mind that he was going to donate money from the proceeds. We've already discussed this so many times in videos that it was a financial fail for Penguin Random House. Chimpo, he's like the chief something officer, and it comes out to Chimpo. It's hilarious. Okay, so we have Spotify, the spare, the book, Chimpo, and then the last thing was chief impact officer. Thank you, Carol. And then the last thing is Netflix, and everybody's like, "Oh, they made $100 million." No, they didn't. They made based on how well the shows did, and none of them did well. I believe that the most they made was $40 million. Okay, $66 million. However, they're in the top tax bracket of 37%. So that's 24.5 million. So 66 minus 24.5 means that they made 41.5 million. Let's just roll it down because they also tax the other money at a lower rate. So let's just put it down to 41 million. Okay. Keep in mind that that's for the last 5 years. That's their total income, 41 million. Now you've got 4 million a year for security. So that means in the last 4 years, they've paid $16 million just in security. That leaves $25 million. Then they need $60,000 a month. That's 7.2 million a year. 60,000 a month for mortgage, power, water, trash, cable, lawn care, pool care, yard care. You don't think Harry's mowing all 8 acres, do you? Maids, because Meghan's not cleaning that house. Cooks, nannies. So when people are saying they're broke, they are literally, the little bit of money they've made is probably gone. The money that was left from Diana might be there, but supposedly, allegedly, according to the Netflix docuseries, Harry and Meghan left that money for the children. They're not going to touch it. We'll see about that. So people are like, they're not broke. They're not broke. Oh, they are. They are living a billionaire lifestyle on a millionaire's income. Not to mention, good point, Lorraine. Lorraine just said, don't forget the lawyers' fees. And for a while there, Meghan Markle was expensive wardrobe. However, I think the freebies are over. And you notice now she's starting to rewear things because I think Harry's like, we can't afford all your designer outfits anymore. And nobody really wants to dress her anymore. So the point is, for people that are saying, oh, they've gotten all these millions, there's like 41 million total over 5 years. And when you total up their expenses every year between everything they have to pay for, they're running out of money. They're absolutely running out of money. When they vacation on other people's private jets. Tyler Perry, Oprah, they hook a ride with other people. And that's how they go. That's how they go. They go on other people's private jets. They stay. Last time, I think it was some July 4th, they flew somewhere on Tyler Perry's private jet and they stayed in Tyler Perry's house. They're getting freebies from people. But I think that's also pretty much coming to an end because none of the A-listers want anything to do with them. As a matter of fact, and this won't be in tomorrow's video, I think it'll be in Tuesday's video. But there was a picture recently put up of Oprah and Gayle King and Mama Kardashian and a bunch of these people that supposedly are all friends with Harry and Meghan. And they were at some concert and Harry and Meghan were nowhere there. And Harry, by the way, I'm so sick of hearing about his genetic pain. Harry went off for the Halo Trust. He still hasn't made it back home. An article just came out. He's somewhere else. He has gone for weeks at a time while bitching about the way the Queen treated King Charles and the way King Charles treated him. He's now doing the exact same thing. Do I think that Netflix is keeping Harry and Meghan on a leash for first look for a possible divorce? Yes, because Netflix uses them. They're using people. They'll use anybody. So I think if there's a divorce, Netflix will be right in there to pay her a big sum to spill what she knows. And let's be honest. Oh, yeah. Yes. And the Bidens said no and wouldn't let them get on Air Force One. See, I hate it when I do that. And I've lost my train of thought. This also happens a lot when you get older. You lose your train of thought. Netflix is absolutely going to take advantage. And let me just remind you that Meghan Markle set him up beautifully. He has put in words and in books that he has severe mental health issues and a drug problem. So when it comes to custody, she's going to go into a court in the United States and say, he's got drug issues. He's got mental health issues. I don't want him alone with the kids. And when I was married to him, I made sure he was never alone. The nanny was there or my mom was there. Get it? You get it? She totally set him up. He's screwed in a massive way. He's absolutely screwed. Big time. Because Netflix is in the business to make money. They are. Absolutely. Hoisted by his own petard. Yes, it's true. It's true. I think it's absolutely true what the Queen said, that Meghan was never really that much in love with Harry. And now we know why the Queen was looking at Meghan and Harry during the wedding with the way she was looking at him. We knew it. We knew something was happening. And now we know why something was happening. So, tiny frog, he deserves to be screwed. Well, what's being said is that he can go back to the UK to his family, not as a working royal. The UK public have spoken. They did a poll. The UK loves their polls. loves their polls. And they have said that Harry can come back with the family, but not as a working royal. And they don't want Meghan there at all. And they won't take him back if Meghan's with him. It's just not going to happen. So, I mean, it's like, I don't know. Royal Daily Tea's in the chat. There you go. I also don't think that Meghan wants to go back to the UK, because if she gets in front of Catherine, she's going to have to curtsy to her. That will never happen. That will never happen. Okay, now somebody asked a question, and that's how we got into all of that. Does anybody else have any other questions? We don't want Harry or Meghan. A lot of people don't want Harry or Meghan. We don't want him either. Take him back. If Megxie has no biological connection and Harry does, could he fight? You know what? A lot of people have said that because they're the grandchild of the king, legally the king has custody and all this kind of stuff. Lily was born in the United States. She's a US citizen. And unless Meghan's gone out of her way to apply for dual citizenship like we did with our children, because even though they were born in the United States, obviously their dad has citizenship somewhere else, and we had to apply specifically for that. So unless Meghan and Harry have applied for that, she only has US citizenship. And Archie would have dual citizenship if they applied for the US passport for Archie after they came back to the United States. You don't just live there and say, oh, well, they have citizenship there. It doesn't work that way. Please believe me. It doesn't work that way. You have to apply. You have to put in all kinds of documents. There's all kinds of steps you have to take and things you have to do. And that's how it works. At least that's how it worked for us. So, yeah, I know. Listen, I have heard already the whole she didn't give birth. And my opinion is this. I don't believe she gave birth to Archie. I believe a surrogate was used. That's my personal opinion. The baby bump going up and down, out and in, square, round, every direction from where it should be. The video that I've shown you guys before of Meghan at that dog charity, and she stands up and the belly suddenly pops out to meet her and she puts her hand out and there's a popping noise. The baby is there. It doesn't sink into your stomach when you bend down. It doesn't disappear. The baby is there in your uterus. It doesn't go anywhere. So I believe, and the whole story, she said, you know, we went to this hospital and we didn't do the thing out front because they said we couldn't, it would block the ER, which just goes to show that she lied. There is no ER at that hospital. And Fergie did her thing at that hospital. It all could have been done there. She lied. You know, we were back home 2 hours after the birth. If she had an epidural, she couldn't have walked 2 hours after that birth. She still would have been in the bed waiting for the epidural to wear off. And then Harry came out with this whole story about he was getting high off the gas and she's bouncing on the bowl laughing while he's getting high in the room, you know. And then he says that after she got her epidural, she got in the bath. You can't get in the bathtub when you have a tube in your spine. So the whole thing with Archie is just wrong. It's just wrong. Also, she became pencil thin again almost immediately. No. Trust me on that one. However, with the daughter, nobody saw her pregnant and she gave birth, and then you could tell she had a lot of weight on her. I thought it would have been nice if she would have addressed postpartum weight and all these other issues that happen instead. And one other thing that Pamela just said, which really catches my attention, your center of gravity is different, and she didn't pitch forward. Let me remind you that one of the things she said is that I put on 60 something pounds. I put on like close to 70. I was up. I have to find one of those pictures. You'll be shocked. I was like a walrus. she said, I was old. The reason I was always holding on to Harry was because my center of gravity was off and I needed him to steady me. And yet there she is twerking in the hospital with her 60, 70-pound weight loss. She doesn't look like she's having any trouble balancing. So once again, she debunked herself. How can you say that you have trouble with your balance and then you're twerking with the extra weight? I mean, come on, guys. She shows herself to be a liar constantly. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to look for the pictures and I'll put it up knowing that people are going to take those pictures and make memes and make fun of me. I don't care. When you are ridiculously thin, as I was when I first got pregnant, I was like 150 pounds. I was like that big around. And they say that when you're that big around, you tend to put on extra weight when you're pregnant. And that's exactly what happened. And I lost all the weight, but 20 pounds. I was working on the last 20 pounds 2 years later when I found that I was pregnant with my second son. And I was just like, and I put the same amount of weight back on. And eventually I got back down to like 175. And my husband was like, I don't want you to go back to your original weight because you were so thin. And I think you look better now at 175. So stop trying to lose. And I was at 175 for years until my thyroid went. And that's when my weight ballooned up and that's it. Okay. So anyway, I'm off track. She's giving this whole thing about I was off balance and that's why I was hanging on to Harry. And then yet she's twerking in a hospital. So again, she debunked herself. If Harry goes back to he will be good. Well, yeah, he will. He will. If he goes back to the UK. Oh, wait, I'm trying to get to this one. Does he really want to take them? I believe he is the father. Something's wrong with, the kids have red hair, blue eyes, pale skin, and she's 44% Nigerian. Genetics can do all kinds of things. Don't get me wrong, because you see, I had really dark hair and I have olive complexion, and my oldest son is blonde with green eyes and pale skin. So genetics are a thing, but that I don't know. In the end, I'm just disgusted because the royal family still hasn't removed them from the website, the royal family website. And not only have they not removed them from the royal family website, the last time I checked, there was a link on there to Archwell on the royal family website. So I don't have anything to say about that. Okay. Anybody have any other questions? Oh, this is an interesting thought. She put on the weight because she knew she made that mistake last pregnancy, still believing she didn't give birth to the girl, and she bulked up. Huh. She's been hanging on to Harry for the last 6 years. Well, that's true too. That's true too. I have to tell you, even the miscarriage story, and I've had miscarriages. Something even then was wrong with the story. Well, she told 3 different stories, first of all. Second of all, they claimed that Harry took the baby and buried it underneath some sort of a tree. I can assure you that products of conception went to the lab. They're supposed to find out what went wrong. And you can't take fetal remains from a hospital. It's products of conception. Yeah, the whole thing is just wrong. It's wrong. Anyway, all right. So I'm glad I was able to catch up. Does anybody have any other questions before I clock off? I think he had money left from the Queen Mother. Yes. However, that money is in a trust in the UK. And if their marriage is as bad as I think it is, he's not going to move that money over because she won't have access to that money. They only have access to the things that they accrued while they were married. That would be the house. That would be the 61 million they made from Archwell. or 66 million, which of course they may not have any of that money left. So the house would have to be sold, and Harry would have to give child support. But they haven't, I mean, if they hang in there, how long, do you guys know how many years they've been married now? What is it, 5 years, 6 years, something like that? I can't even remember how long they've been married. But in California, it's the 10 years is when everything is split. But if she thinks she's getting a hold of the money in trust, she's wrong, because Carol says 7 years. Thank you, Carol. Because the money in trust in the UK, she can't touch that. She can't touch that. So, nope. She'll end up in a nice small house somewhere with Harry paying child support until the kids are 18. And then she'll have to figure out how she's going to live. So, and the other thing is, I think, and this could just be wrong, but I think that they realize that they're growing up without cousins, nieces, nephews, grandparents. And the children may want that life of luxury in the royal family, and they've basically screwed their kids. And so I think that's another reason why they want back in. I believe they want back in because they want the kids to have the choice to work. But after all of their whining and crying about how it was a horrible place and it was like the Truman Show and they barely escaped with their lives, why would you want your children to go back there? I mean, it's just crazy. That's possible. That's very possible, but I don't know how that works. The wine. Okay, we're talking about the wine really quickly. Because the truth is, and this was said yesterday in the news on Talk TV, that she only had a certain number of bottles. We don't even know how many bottles she had. I want you to know how many. There's like 38 million people in the United States alone. She couldn't sell the alcohol out of the United States. There's millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of people in the United States. And she had so I want you to think about that. You had to buy 3 at a time, minimum, not even knowing if you liked it. And you had to wait weeks for it to be shipped. And it was shipped in this egg crate crap with the cheap white paper. Remember, I did a live about this with the Sidleys and Royal Daily Tea and Resting Doll Face and Steph. If you haven't seen that live, you should really go back and see it. It's so funny. They talked about the weird taste in the back of the throat after swallowing. I'm not kidding. It was in the live. So if she had 5,000 bottles, it's sold out because she could only sell to like 1,500 people. We're sold out. So it was a hootenanny line. Yeah. So anyway, you'll have to go back and look at that live. It's in my thing. It was absolutely hilarious. So all right, guys, I don't like to run my lives too long because I feel like after a while you tune out. And I do know that some people do 2-hour and 3-hour and 4-hour lives, but after a while it gets old. I do want to say this. This is true. Never introduce yourself to a lifestyle you can't afford, and never adopt a lifestyle that depends on someone else's money. That is such a spot on comment. In other words, don't live above your means. Exactly. Which is why, like, the house my husband and I put here is small, but it was what we could afford. But it's not above our means. It's perfect. You know what I mean? You got to be careful with your money because, not all of us have, what do you call it? Not all of us have Archwell. We don't all have these places where you can donate cash. And for other people, where you're allowed to keep 95% of it for expenses. You know what I mean? We can't all live that way. Some of us have to work for a living. So, all right, you guys. FYI, Royal Daily Tea is still here. FYI, Royal Daily Tea. I think it's today, isn't it? Today you're having your live with. She's having a live with HG Tudor. That guy is going to give you a really good live. He is so funny, and his answers, you never know what's going to happen. So come over and watch. Wait, she's putting it up. Come over and watch it at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Absolutely. You don't want to miss this. I'll be tuning in. And I hope everybody has a absolutely fabulous day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Lots of tea to spill. Bye.